Hey, it's Mike Sasson. Guess what? You used to love us at 10. You're going to love us even more at 9. It's me. It's Alex. It's funniness. It's guests. It's all sorts of me yelling into microphones only 1 hour earlier. It's exactly what you need at 9 o'clock. It's like a shot of adrenaline. It's the Mike Sasson Show. Now starting at 9 o'clock on Tuesday on the River's Edge. A new kind of radio.
Hey, hey, mama, know you treat me so mean. You're the meanest old woman that I ever seen. Oh. I'm a guy that walks among men. I can see everything that happened then. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh. Work real hard, act real sweet, killing CEOs, starting the wheel. You can run after me. You can run. Run, 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 run. You can run after me. You can run. Run, 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 run. 1, 2, 3, 4. When all my friends and all my creatures and all my children love your old preachers, oh. Stick with me, win the league, guarantee I will see you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello. Why can't I hear myself?
I can hear you.
Hello. Oh, because of the headphones. Just the headphones being weird. Hello.
Hello?
Oh. Yeah, I can kind of hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
I can hear you loud and clear.
It's just my headphones. It's just this adapter is kind of like the, the quarter to the eighth is kind of wonky. So, hello. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
You ready to rock and roll, Chilla?
Is Dutters in the studio?
No.
No.
She had a concert. She's got a concert with the Cool Kids.
Cool Kids concert?
No, that was the one that I worked a couple weeks ago.
Which one did you work a couple weeks ago?
It was the Cool Kids playing on Hill Topless.
Ah, okay.
Why can't I hear myself? Hello, hello. Oh, okay. It's bad if I hear myself, apparently. Test 1, 2. Check 1, 2. All right. You ready to rock and roll?
I am ready to rock and roll.
Are you ready to rock and roll now?
I'm trying to repair my neighbor's laptop.
Your neighbor's laptop? Like you're doing tech support right now?
Yeah, sort of.
Interesting.
But it's an old piece of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So doing repairs is pretty much watching progress bars go by.
Yeah, I know that.
Because it's actually I honestly think the reason it's slow is not just because it's like 7 years old. It's because there's umpteen updates that are all trying to run simultaneously.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
So what I'm telling him to do from now on is I'm setting everything to pretty much auto update.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to tell him that he needs to, like the second Wednesday of every month, he needs to leave his laptop on, open, and logged in.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Yeah.
So then everything will just run.
Isn't that so? By the way, it's been gold this whole time. So isn't that interesting? It's like Brian from River's Edge, which you were listening if you were on the live feed here tonight. He was in here with this like little Asus or something red notebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of made it like a little, like it looks like it's an 11-inch maybe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, cute notebook you got there, Brian. And he's like, yeah, I got this from Goodwill, and it has Ubuntu on it. I'm like, that's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah, this still has Windows 7 on it.
Damn it, my cheat sheet didn't work. Oh, my
Your
restream
cheat sheet didn't?
my cheat sheet.
What do you mean your cheat sheet didn't work?
I had a cheat sheet because you can't label what YouTube is what in Restream. So
Ah.
I've been broadcasting the Mayhem Show instead of Sorgatron Media and didn't realize it. Oh, no, I didn't read it right. That's my fault. Test 1 2, check 1 2. Yeah, I'm getting that little echoey thing. I get sometimes. So I wanted to talk about Lyft and I can't remember why. I practically live there these days. No, I had somebody on Chilla that was a security, like I think he's a security researcher with the government. That's all he told me. And he was talking about how like Twitter is really important to him because like basically like security guys go on and talk about whatever the current issue is all day, and then they'll get like cold called from companies.
Oh, I'm sure. That totally makes sense. Well, and that's what kills me is there's people like the guy you're talking about that use Twitter for so much good and understand the concept of real news versus fake news and whatnot, versus the people that aren't social media aware and think that all Twitter is fake news or unreliable.
Right.
But the one thing I will say about tech companies is if they're very apt to respond with A, correct information, B, information that hasn't been posted to their websites and whatnot yet, and you get a response. So I've actually used it multiple times for things at work where, you know, something's not working with an iOS beta, or something's not working with a certain version of Mac OS or Windows or whatever, and you mention the company and kind of type in what you're experiencing, and you get a valid, serious, decent response back.
Yeah, I mean, we see that when we're just kind of chatting about things here on this show, and then, you know, we get a response from somebody, right?
Yes. So but the problem I have with work is they're like, well, I don't trust their Twitter feed. We got to get an email from them. I'm like, there's no difference.
You're talking about your own workplace?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Missy. Hold on. Oh, let me just do a real quick test here. I just want to make sure. Oh, never mind. I have this video open like 3 times. I just want to test the audio because I want to make sure it's doing what I think it is. Because I don't know. It's one of those things where I hear myself or I don't hear myself right. And I don't know if that's everybody hears it that way or if it's something with my headphones. So, well, that should be one. It's one of those things where I hear myself or I don't hear myself right. And it's fine.
You sound good.
Hopefully we've upped the audio level and quality because I know we've been running a little low lately. I know I have to raise it usually afterwards. So, again, trying to get things going. Hey, look, Missy has a camera. She also has a mic that's not on. Hello.
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 Hi.
Yeah, this is my headphones. Oh, how about if I turn up my headphones? Hello, me.
Did you just turn up your headphones or your microphone?
That was my headphones. Where are you? Talk to me.
I'm talking to you.
Talk to me.
I can't hear. Oh, there was a brief moment that I heard myself.
Yeah, there you
there
are.
We go.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a microphone.
That's how
now.
you do it.
So now I have a microphone.
That's how you do it, Missy.
I don't do anything.
That's how you podcast.
You're the one that's doing the numbers.
Oh, okay. But no, that was interesting, and I knew I was in good company when this fellow was telling me about. We were talking about like traveling because he just came off like a bunch of traveling he did, right? And apparently he went to Detroit for some game that it was pretty much the precursor to Pokemon Go, and I'm like, Ingress? So I'm like, oh, we're friends. We friends. So I'm always happy when I get like my people, whether wrestling fans or tech heads, and it's just like, hi, I actually know what you're talking about. I'm not just a typical Lyft driver. So. Oh, I'm itchy. Nose is itchy. Oh, that's creepy. All right, Chilla.
Yes, sir.
I need you to do me a big favor.
What's that?
I need you to adjust your camera.
What do you need me to adjust?
Do you see all that space above your head?
Yes.
Yes. Because I can't fix that here anymore. There we go. Yeah, that's good. That's how you do it. And
Better?
Whoopsh, there goes your title. Whoopsh. Sorry, I have new transitions.
That's okay. It's
And I have personal sound effects.
I have to wait for it to catch up on the Facebook feed.
Wait for it. You wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh, and I have it muted, so I can't hear it.
Yeah, well, you heard my sound effect. Now imagine it when you see the title. Did it come up yet?
Nope.
Do I need to do it again? Hold on. Whoopsh. This is what you get when you. This is what they get on gold. Did it come up?
No, not yet. There it is.
Yeah, isn't that slick? I'm playing with stuff. We'll try it.
But I do see the hangout buttons underneath that behind
Yeah, and there's me in the
picture.
corner. Like I realized I was in the corner when I was talking to the guy on Skype earlier because it's even bigger. I mean, you can see it a bit. Like it gets covered up when I do this, but because I'm bringing in the full desktop now, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the other thing. Oh, I guess I can switch between them before I do this. Okay, cool. Because I didn't want like this stuff to slide in. Cool. What is my awesome thing of the week? We talked about Mars. You know what? I'm going to do this, and then I need to queue up something on the Facebook. So I'm going to let Chill, I'm going to let you go first while I set up my Facebook thing when we get going, because I don't need to do it just yet. I will probably already still do it. All right. Chilla, are you ready to rock and roll?
I am ready to rock.
Are you ready to rock and roll? Chilla. Chilla. Rock and roll. Chilla town. Rockin' in Chilla town.
I'm trying to hurry up and see if there's any other articles I want to get in the doc, but I think I'm good. And I have my awesome thing of the week in there.
Why is it? Where'd the chat go? I don't know if my chat's live or not.
My chat is live. However, the problem is that when I'm on my personal in there, I see everybody. When I switch over to the AwesomeCast in there, I see no one.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird.
I can't switch to a personal on mine.
I think I'm just going to switch.
It took
over
me a
to
minute
me.
to see the option. I had to click it once and then click it again to see the option to switch to my personal.
It's been a weird. Oh, really? You had to click it again? Hold on, let me click it again.
Yeah, like the little drop down there.
Nope, all pages. All pages. Oh, there it is. You gotta go back. You gotta go back something. Now maybe I'll see them all. And then, what do I click off and then back on it? I don't know. I don't know. All right, we'll see how this goes.
Hi, Amanda.
Let me
Hi,
know.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. Oh, I guess you see them up above. But okay. Well, we're going one way or another. 368.
That's the doc says. That's what it is.
Are you doing any of the Google announcement stuff?
Is that since? That is since.
Yeah, that is since.
Oh, let's cover that in the back half.
Okay, I'll find some
articles so I can show off.
Oh, hey, Brandon.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm getting everybody.
Well, Brandon is saying that Facebook has been acting slow lately, so he's having some issues as well, apparently.
I'll try to bring it up on my phone. Sometimes that gets a different result. Hold on. I know, sorry, we're starting a little late. Yeah, I see more people there. All right, we'll see how this goes. Test 1, 2. Sometimes I get a little bit of feedback on you, Chilla. I'm just going to pull you down a little bit. All right, let's go. Oh, let's do the cool shot. Live from the Beachview Neighborhood Studios, Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, PA. This is the AwesomeCast, episode 368. This is the show where we get geeky talk tech. People in the Pittsburgh area doing Pittsburgh things in the technology realm. Myself, I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter. And, I didn't hit the right transition. Sorry. Hold on. I got a really fancy transition. Ready? Whoop. There you go. But Missy's already losing her mind over that one.
It's not losing my mind. It's just like, oh dear, I don't want to be associated with this. Can I hide behind my computer?
Oh no. Yes. I own a company. But anyways, yes, video production here and the podcasting and all the things here at Sorgatron Media. Also with me, he is the gadget guru at Big Bank International Esquire. He's John Chichilla.
Hey, how's it going? Live from Studio C this week.
Yes, it is. Good to have you with us, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
And I think it's your first week kind of on the new studio, on the new hardware. Looking good. Your lip sync's looking pretty good, too. It's like you're not even in like a neighborhood away from me.
It's like I'm right there.
It's like you're right here, exactly, except I get to eat all the pizza. But anyways, you can check out everything AwesomeCast.com. You subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google Play podcasts, and as well as the video versions on YouTube and Facebook for AwesomeCast. And, of course, join us here every Tuesday, live.awesomecast.net or the Facebook page. Or we're streaming a lot of different places at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday. You can be part of the chat. The main one, of course, is happening in Facebook. When Facebook, I don't know, something weird is happening in the Facebook chat, so we're keeping an eye on it. So keep hitting us up on there if you're having problems with it. But lately, we've also been streaming on our YouTube page, our Periscope and Twitter, as well as our Twitch channel over at Sorgatron Media there. So if you want to, wherever you like to take in the AwesomeCast, you can do that now. Also, if you like streaming radio, we're also available through our friends riversedgepgh.com. You might hear them if you're on the live stream here before the show, Saturdays at 9 a.m., as well as 405 Media, where we're at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 5 days a week, the business days. That's noon for your people in Pittsburgh, because we're Pittsburgh-based, of course. Also, a big thanks to our friends on Patreon, patreon.com/awesomecast. Matt Weller at the Coffee Club, $5 level, and of course Mike Fedor at the Fan of the Show dollar level, Mike Fedor Show on the Twitter, and Matt_Weller 1T on the Twitter for him as well. And we don't say enough. There's a lot of different levels here. Big thanks and recognition to everybody at the Fan of the Show dollar level, at the $5 Coffee Club level. They get the gold content that we record around the show, some extra stuff, like you're going to hear a little bit about some interesting people I met Lyft driving today, as well as Chilla's endeavors upgrading old computers, apparently. So maybe a little bit of extra tips and extra content in there for you. And a lot of fun with that stuff. And also we do have a $10 level, but it's kind of the pizza level. You're going to get the on-air shout out at the gold, as well as a state of the podcast address every month. We get on and talk about what's going on with the show, what's coming up with the show, some secret info whenever we have it for things that we're working on, maybe the behind the scenes of the talking about the technology that we're using in the show, things going on around Sorgatron Media. That you get a little bit extra at the $10 level, and the $20 executive producer level will practically give you the keys to the kingdom, or at least some street cred. Oh no! What went down? What went down?
All of it.
All of it.
Well, I know it wasn't the brick wall.
Something fell over. It's not the brick wall. No. At $20. If somebody gets us, Chilla. If somebody this month starts at the $20 executive producer level, I will bring the brick wall into the studio.
You realize Chilla is now going to sign up for that.
Yeah, or is is this one of those ones where people at the company are excluded, or can I?
No. We have
level?
plenty of people on Mayhem Show that contribute to the Patreon. It's completely allowed, and actually, when we do the one game where we give a little bit extra to the Patreons on that show, like half of them sign up for it for at least $1. so no. Chilla, if you want more say in the show that you are a co-host of. You can completely do that. But yeah, no, and after, if you join at this level for 4 consecutive months, we also send you executive producer business cards. and you can use that credit on your resume because you really are providing the show and helping support it in a big way. So with that, Chilla, what is your awesome thing of the week?
So one of the things that I actually find myself needing to do more often than I would think is to mirror my device to a TV screen, whether it's an iPhone, an Android device, a Windows tablet, whatever. And to do this, there's a multitude of hoops you have to jump through because there's not many standards. So I end up carrying like a Chromecast dongle. I carry a Chromecast dongle, an Apple TV, and a Microsoft dongle as well. That pretty much then guarantees me no matter what kind of device you have, I can broadcast it up on a TV wirelessly. The really cool thing is, and there's a lot of companies that have Samsung TVs out there. There's a product called AirBeam TV, and I didn't know this, but this has been out for the Mac for some time. But AirBeam TV for iOS now lets you mirror your iOS 11 device to any Samsung Smart TV from 2012 on. So I have a TV downstairs. It's probably about 4 years old, and this works with it. It does come at a little bit of a cost, so $4.99 from the Apple App Store for the iOS version, and $9.99 for the Mac version. Obviously, it's doing some video crunching and using some of their new replay kit technology. So it is processor intensive. So they say there's probably about a 5-second lag on it. And so far, it doesn't actually transfer the audio just from Safari. It works from other applications. And it may not always work with DRM enabled apps like Netflix or Hulu. But if you're trying to, this isn't a replacement for like a casting device or a media center type device. But if you're just trying to get a slideshow or pictures or content during a presentation up onto the screen, because I just found out about this today and just tested it this afternoon, it works pretty darn well. Now, because of it's doing I'm guessing it's doing some kind of Miracast transition in the background. It does only work on the iPhone 6S and up, and any of the recent iPads 5th generation and iPad Pro and up. So check it out if you're in constant need of broadcasting to a TV and don't want to have to hook up an Apple TV and you have a newer Samsung TV. This is the perfect app in my mind. I'm interested. I'm trying to find some other TVs because I'm like I said, I'm guessing this is using Miracast behind the scenes, which other companies support. So I'm interested to see, will this work? How will this work, and how it works with other Miracast-based devices?
I like it. I like that there's that option. I mean, this is a bit more of that opening of your phone, basically, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm already seeing, as definitely with iOS 11, I'm seeing a little bit more instability. Maybe it was just the before 0.1 update, but still, like there's a lot of accessibility happening now with your phone, and it's kind of nice to feel like it's a little more fully functional, right?
And I'm interested too, because this. Remember we were talking about, I think a couple weeks back, we were talking about Replay Kit and Xbox, Microsoft bring in, what is their Mixer to the iPhone. So there's a Mixer app where you can broadcast if the game supports Replay Kit. So this is the same type of, they're using the same technology and just linking it up to the TV. So I'm hoping that more games bring this in, because I wouldn't mind throwing like Mixer or Twitch. If I could do it right from the phone and not have to create some kind of crazy setup and whatnot, I mean, to me, it's the perfect option.
Absolutely. Well, wait, why do you want to throw a game on the TV though? Well, I guess if you don't have an Apple TV,
I don't want to throw a game onto the TV. What I want to do, it's using the same technology that this app is using to throw the game on the TV, is the same technology Microsoft is using to let you broadcast games to Mixer and Twitch. So I'm hoping that so it's using what they call Replay Kit. So I'm hoping that because this is becoming more popular, a lot of people today, right, you have to plug your iPhone or iPad into a device and then use Twitch or some kind of broadcast software to then get your game broadcast up to those services. This type of technology would allow you to do that all on device. So there would be no need for a bunch of heavy hardware and whatnot sitting beside you. You could actually run like a Twitch stream from anywhere with very little problem.
So this is an app for your phone. It's not even any sort of like hardware device like an Apple TV or a Chromecast. Like you have to actually plug into something. It's legit just an app.
Yep. And it's based on the fact that Samsung TVs, their smart TVs from 2012 on, supported Mirror. I'm guessing it's because they support Miracast out of the box. So like I could always take like a Windows tablet or a newer Android device and cast it up to my Samsung TV, regardless of what the hardware was. Like it didn't have to be a Samsung phone, right? I could have an LG, a Motorola, whatever, as long as it did Miracast or good. So I'm guessing that's what this is doing in the background. It's converting kind of the AirPlay stream to Miracast and then broadcasting that to the TV.
So is this an option that Sorg could use to watch his wrestling on Monday nights on our big screen from his phone?
Without the Chromecast app that breaks all the freaking time, you mean?
Yep.
So the question would be is what are you watching it over, and is it DRM protected? If it's DRM protected, maybe not.
I don't think so because I can AirPlay. Well,
if you can AirPlay it, then
I can do. It was already got an AirPlay built in. It crashes all the time on Chromecast. And it wasn't very good when I had an Apple TV either that I was connecting to all the time. So no, I think that's more USA's app sucks, and there's no other option. So,
what happens if you directly plugged an iPad into the TV?
Well, believe me, I did that for a while. Actually, I wouldn't be half bad, but the good iPads at home. And even the browser version always sucks. This is a whole other problem. So, that's awesome. So again, where do people find that? It's Mirror.
It is AirBeam TV, all one word, capital A, capital B, capital T, capital V on the end. So AirBeam awesome. TV. So my awesome thing kind of goes with a sadness. This is not the awesome thing entirely, but we had pour one out because AOL is shutting down AOL Instant Messenger or whoever owns AOL these days. Who owns that these days? Verizon.
Oh, yes, I have a ad blocker. Dicks. Anyways, but yeah, so it's being shut down, and roots of things like this show, or probably more specifically Wrestling Mayhem show, started with AOL chat rooms, and I know a lot of people, we had their names on there, a lot of times. So a lot of these names came familiar. The awesome thing is I put out there on our social media, let's hear what was your AOL Instant Messenger screen name, specifically the AwesomeCast group on Facebook. First of all, mine, SPS Juggalo. I'll leave to your imagination what SPS stood for if you haven't heard it already. And this is going to be tough because some of these you have to see. Rob, original co-host of the show, Rob De La Creta, that brought the name AwesomeCast to us. His name is Interference with threes in the middle.
Total elite.
Total elite. He says, I was in fact a elite hacksaw. Christina says the first one was Chris Pooh 83. I imagine a Winnie the Pooh fan, right? Let's see. Doug says he once dated a girl who opened an account named Spoon's Toy. Our boy Father Spoon from Should I Drink That? And on another one, he was on our Basic Sorgonomics chat room earlier today, and he said that he can't tell us his AOL chat name in fear of being unemployed, I guess. So there's that. Jim Sharman, J1MZ0R, because he was elite as all hell. He also had a 5-digit ICQ number. I was trying to remember my ICQ number. It's like 375456, I think. Like I don't know why that number sticks in my head.
Yeah, I don't remember my ICQ number. My AOL Instant Messenger was Slicer579, and that's actually my Gmail address. So I didn't. That's why I actually didn't put it in there in that thread, because I didn't want a bunch of Gmail spam. But it actually, Slicer originates from they were the names for hackers in the Star Wars universe. And then my birthday is 79. Yeah. So that's what they called. I used to read all the Star Wars books back in the day as they were released, and that was what they called the hackers. They were the slicers.
Jeez. Wow, that's deep cuts there. Let's see. We had Katie. Hers was "You Will Die" with the letter "U" will die. It says bad joke that stuck. So and she was not a goth. So I wanted to check that. Let's see. Matt Weller, our Patreoner. He says he thinks his was Helen back, like Yen back. Helen Beck there first, though he says he still has his Nero, and I know him from Nero from the Awful Show. In my head, he's Nero for the most part. What?
Jubilee just chimed in from the Twitter feed that hers was Little Cabbage Leaf for the longest time.
These are great. These are amazing. Let's see. Steve says his was PGH Splash, all caps. He was living in Florida at the time, so PGH was for Pittsburgh, and Splash is for his truck that was hooked the F up. Alex, our friend Alex Carr is out in California, says, what's up? What's up? What's up? Riz was Rizza 3K. I wonder what the 3K was. And our friend Bobby F. J-Town, also from the Mayhem Show, is SCSA. Yeah, okay. His was SCSA 316Y2J. So Stone Cold Steve Austin 316Y2J as in Chris Jericho. So very, very wrestling based. So I know some of his others were Grandmaster Sexay. So so that's kind of fun. So if you guys are checking this out later, please let us know what your AOL screen name was, and we'd love to hear it. So go check that out. Thanks a lot to everybody that contributed to that post. Hey, you know what we enjoy? It's contributed to this show every week, Chilla.
Pizza?
That's right.
I love meat pizza. And you didn't tell me they now do online ordering.
Yeah, well, we've said that in the ad, I'm sure, right? Right?
I don't know.
Right? That was a big deal, a big deal for us when it was coming about. But no, our good friends at Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza, right up the street here, right on Broadway. Hence the name. The original location, right up from the studio in Beachview neighborhood of Pittsburgh, as well as Carnegie, PA, down on Main Street, PNC Park, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we just saw the location last week, the new upcoming location in the works, right in the heart of East Liberty, right up from the Target, I believe. So go check them out, sliceonbroadway.com. They've been supporting us for a good long time. Keeping us fed, I guess, in the studio. We have some on the way for this evening for the Wrestling Mayhem show. And they're going to get a lot more since we didn't have anybody in for the AwesomeCast. Man, I'm sorry we can't fax you that pizza. We should, and we keep suggesting them to drone the pizza. They are on Uber Eats, so you can get it from PNC Park. Yes?
Is this thing live?
Yeah, I can see. I can hear you clicking.
Yeah, but I can't hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that people can hear me? I
there
doubt
you
it.
Are.
There I am, because you keep turning me down. What I was going to say is it was great to see they are super, super interactive with their social media. And I love the fact that they actually had a call out tonight for drivers in Beachview.
Really?
Yeah, they were looking for pizza drivers tonight.
Are they short or something?
Apparently something happened and they were doing a call out for somebody to get involved. But the fact that they use their social media like that is just amazing, and they have a huge.
Are they interested in internet famous podcasters to be drivers?
I did suggest, because it was on the Mayhem show, I did suggest that we could do kind of like taxi cab confessionals, pizza delivery confessionals. With the Mayhem show.
That's awesome. And of course also, and I think, are we done with the every vote counts, narrow the field to 8?
Oh no.
It's still
we're
going.
In the Sweet 16.
The Sweet 16, ladies and gentlemen, of the Incline's Ultimate Pizza, the Ultimate Pizza of Pittsburgh brackets. You can check that out. Who are they up against here? Is it Angelo's still?
No, if you click, like, you can see the bracket
wait.
listings.
It's a Pizza Badamo.
Yeah.
Wait,
And Angelio's.
Angelio's. You're going down Angelo's. That's what they are now. Yeah, I think it is Angelo's Pizza.
Yeah, they're against. So they beat a Pizza Badamo, and now they're against Angelo's. Where's Angelo's at?
I don't know. But I think it's only inevitable that they go on a head-to-head with Minios there, because I know a lot of people are down with the Minios in the area. So go support Slice on Broadway. You have until tomorrow as of this recording, or today, depending on when you're downloading this, or maybe you're too late. If you are too late, go check and see where they are in the bracket and support them for the next bracket, because of course they're going to beat Angelo's. You're going down Angelo's for sure. I hear the clicking.
Yeah, you hear the clicking because I want you to make sure that I'm listenable. Voting is open through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
There you go. Wednesday, October 11th, right?
Yes.
So go check it out. Go support our friends that have been supporting this show for so long. From that, hey, a local focus here. First, I want to give a shout out to our friends. Did we not mention this on the show yet? Apparently not. This was in this last week, wasn't it, with MetaMesh?
Yeah, this was in the last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
lots happened.
yeah, I know. It's been a heck of a week, right? But our friends at PitMesh, MetaMesh, they receive a $120,000 grant to bring free Wi-Fi to Pittsburgh. We've talked about them in the past. I have a MetaMesh thing right here next to me, but they've been trying to blanket the neighborhoods of Pittsburgh with free Wi-Fi, with a mesh network that if part of it goes down with internet, they can still share off of the internet from the rest of the neighborhoods. If an entire, let's say it's across the entire neighborhood and Allentown goes down, they can pull in internet ideally from other places on their network on these things they're riding other people's networks or closed off and just there and being part of the mesh. So really good to see that they're getting a lot of support there through this. This was a grant through, I believe, the Hillman Foundation, and like I say, it's going to push and get them routers through more of the city. They're attached to the Keystone Initiative for a network-based education and research, KINBER. And Chilla, I don't know if you're on. You should probably sign up for the newsletter, because there's a lot of really interesting networking stuff that some of it I don't even get that might be of interest to you.
Is that with KINBER?
With PitMesh. So
I will definitely shoot me a link to that, and I will definitely sign up.
Go check it out. I recommend it to see just kind of how they're doing. And of course, they provided internet to Hilltoplist. I worked. They had a hard line to us, but our internet where we streamed at 1080p out the concert for the cool kids was provided over a wireless connection that they're pulling from the KINBER, I believe from Southside or Duquesne. So these guys have it together. They're really doing some interesting things with rollout. They're about to implement a big rollout in a new neighborhood. They're just working on some of the hardware and upgrading that. They were literally like tinkering with some of the builds of the routers at the member meeting I was at Saturday night at Academy Pittsburgh. So, do you have a question there, Chilla?
No, I'm interested if they're thinking about going more into the center of the city, like deep downtown, because I know they're kind of spread out and about. In
neighborhoods that don't have a lot of great access, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm interested to know too, because one of the things that I see downtown is not many people are broadcasting up. And because they're not broadcasting up, usually beyond the first or second floor of a building, you're not getting real good coverage. So I'm interested. I mean, going to pitmesh.net, there's not a lot on that front page. So if you have additional information on them or sites to visit, let me know.
Yeah, and then they're solving a lot of problems because things like businesses were still having questions about security and were hesitate to donate to it. Also, it's found out that more residential communities, such as one of the original targets in Morningside, lack the large enough business district to support Wi-Fi. So yeah, these are the kind of things that they're dealing with as they grow this thing. But hopefully they'll be able to roll a little bit more out there, and good for them. Good to see a Pittsburgh company and a fellow work hard Pittsburgh company doing very, very well out there. So also we can mention Missy. I know you guys talked about this recently over on Bold Mornings, a new show we're doing on Sunday mornings on Bold Pittsburgh. So we'll go follow that Facebook page for that. And there's also a link for it over on Bold Pittsburgh and sorgatronmedia.com. But you were interested in this other new app that's coming up in the area.
The Mobile Nom app.
Mobile Nom, yes.
I will give these guys all the love that I possibly can. You're downtown. You see that there's a food truck in the area. You're like, great, I'm going to go ahead and go grab some lunch. You head the couple of blocks or whatever to go get the food truck. And by the time you get there, they're gone.
Oh.
Or, they're supposed to be in the area. This is something that Amanda had brought up on the morning show. You know that they're supposed to be there, and for some reason it winds up canceling. So you go there, and there is no food truck there. So how do we get around this? Well, a couple of Pitt grad students, well, Pitt graduates, they're not students, but the Pitt grads have figured this out. So they have a Mobile Nom that is a food truck tracking app. So kind of think of it like the snowplow updates that Pittsburgh has given us in the last couple of winters. And this does it for the food trucks. So they tell you where they are. They have a general idea as to how long they're going to be there. And you can even have the option to pull up their menu to see what they're serving for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
it's
awesome.
amazing. It's great. And so excited about it.
Because I've never been, unless it's like some kind of special event or something, I haven't really experienced much food truckage. Now, maybe this is something more for you, Chilla, because you live that downtowner life on a day-to-day basis. Are you a food trucker?
I am a food trucker, and I'm interested in seeing how well this works because I do often hear, oh, there's a food truck down the street, wherever, and then I get there and they're gone. So I would definitely be interested in this, as well as I kind of stay probably within a 4-block radius on average when I'm running out to lunch and back. And if there's anything in that 5th block or 6th block or whatever, I would never know about it. So I'm interested, will this allow me to experience more food trucks with accuracy?
Yeah, because I mean, isn't that, the reason that Yelp or Google Maps, when you're searching for restaurants in my area, you think of that thing and it's like the extra block beyond your reach, right? Instead of you just wandering and stumbling on something you like. Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense for that. So you can actually see or go down and not be disappointed, if it's already taken off or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So good. So you're downloading this one?
Yes.
So go check out Mobile Nom. They got a lot of fun stuff going on there. All right, Sheila. I got a fun one to end this, but in the meantime, there was a Google announcement last year or last month.
Last year. There was one last year,
too.
last
week. It was last year. There was probably one last month as well, but there was one last week. Sheila, what is the best of this thing?
So I'm actually excited for, and let me find where it is in the doc for you. It's the Clips one.
Really? The oddest of them all.
So the concept has always, and I've always looked at a couple of these kind of like personal wearable cameras. I always find it interesting because it's always hard to get that picture when you're running around with small little ones. So this is another one of those type devices, and I apologize that I'm looking at my phone because I'm downloading Mobile Nom.
Nobody can see it. I'm showing a picture. It's okay.
Okay. So this is it's a camera that you can clip on to your shirt, or you can kind of set it up in the corner of a room. You can pretty much put it wherever, and it actually records footage at 15 frames per second, which isn't super great. and then it actually will do some video recording at 30 or 60 frames per second. But what this allows you to do, and it's supposed to use AI to learn and look at, what would make a good photo from a composition perspective. Or are the people smiling? Is everyone looking at the camera? Is there something of interest in the room, et cetera, et cetera? And then it pairs with your smartphone over Wi-Fi and offloads pictures from the 16 gig internal storage from the device. So I don't know. I find this concept interesting, and there's so many times where I'm like, something happens and I don't have enough time to even pull out my phone and you pull out the camera, and this to me would hopefully have gotten some of that imagery or video or whatnot that I would be hoping to get. I view this as it's the perfect thing to put in the corner of the room on Christmas Day as you're having family, friends, whatever over, whether it's opening gifts, eating dinner, whatever. It takes the, hey, everyone whip out your cameras and take a picture of this or that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Not just like kind of not a baby photo thing, but yeah, just something you put in and you're not occupied with a camera to try to capture the moment, right? Like I remember Mom always was taking the pictures, right? And she was the capture of events going on, and but that's pretty cool. Like, it also I guess you can kind of consider kind of creepy too in the long run. But no, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, like I say, I picture this as something that you could throw up like next to I always remember those family gatherings, right? For Christmas, where you had everybody in one big room, and you could put in a corner and you capture some moments. Right.
It'd be cool because think about it, this is all going to go up to Google Photos, right? If it's going to pick up on people that you have in the pictures, you're going to be able to instantly share the albums with them. If you have two people with these different rooms, I just view the possibilities between the thing that the camera can do, the AI on the back end. It just to me makes perfect sense.
Now I do have to shift gears here a little bit, because Brandon actually just brought up in the chat room, and this was my favorite takeaway from the Google announcement stuff, is they have headphones that can translate multiple languages. And
in real time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was the thing when I came home and I was like, oh, the Google announcement was happening, and you were telling me about these headphones.
Oh yeah. And Doug actually has weighed in, because where he works, that's kind of a thing. But it's really cool because it's in real time. So somebody's talking to you in their native language, and you're able to pick it up in your earphones, that it translates. Now, I'm assuming that the translation is going to be similar to kind of you plug something into Google and it gives you a basic translation, that there's going to be some stuff a little bit off in it depending on dialects and regional type of things. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you're going to be able to get the gist of the conversation. If they have the same thing, they're going to be able to essentially understand you. And I think that it's going to be a game changer as far as how we learn and how we do things, like for business travel, especially, dealing with people from other parts of the world. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
I thought it was really cool. I don't have a large need for that, but the one thing that you said, it's going to change the way we learn, and that's the one thing that worries me about these, is are people going to stop learning other languages because they can just have this type of device? That would be kind of my only concern about the device.
I think it's the same thing. Like I said, I'm assuming it's going to be more like a Google Translate type of thing, where it's not actual, like it's not the best translation, but as a native English speaker, like if I were to go to France, I know a little bit of French that I could kind of muddle my way around if I needed to. And I think that it's going to be more along that sort of lines. But if you're talking to a native speaker, they're going to be able to realize that even though you're speaking the language, you don't know it. So I think it's still going to be beneficial, especially if you're dealing with, like if you work in a company where you have overseas offices that you have to visit, you're still going to need to learn the language. If you're a student going overseas for like a program that you're an exchange student or something, you're still going to need to learn the language. But if I'm just visiting Canada and I happen to wander into a French-speaking portion of Canada, I'm not going to have to necessarily learn the language to have a conversation.
Right. I feel like this helps tourism before anything, right?
I think more so. Like
Yeah.
they're looking at the mass majority versus like the small group of people that already do things.
So the big question here, Chilla, is does this trump your AirPods, your earpods?
I don't like the wire behind the back.
So it's still aesthetic, despite the fact that you can understand, despite the fact that you basically have a Star Trek universal translator in your ears. But there's a wire.
But not just. But like I said, I don't know how many times or how many places do I go where this is the feature I need. I'm interested in the fact that it has Google Assistant built into it more than the real time translation. The one thing I don't know is, and I think Amanda brought it up in the chat, is does this require? Oh, how Apple of them. The caveat here is that the real-time translation feature only works when the headphones are paired to a Pixel.
Yes.
Right.
By the way, I guess Google finally realized too that they don't need a headphone jack because the Pixel also no longer has a headphone jack.
Nope. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There's a lot happening with this. There's a lot of statements that happen with these announcements.
So it's like
I will say from the look of the headphones, I do like the form factor of the in-ear piece with the kind of loop lock-in to the top of your ear canal and the way it's actually form-fitted. I would say, not liking the band around the back, and as you made fun of me for that, I will say the earpiece form factor actually looks like it may be a little better for what I like out of a wireless earbud. But I'd be interested the way that the loop is. I would be interested to see how that feels for a prolonged period of time in my ear. I almost wish they made the beats, the small in-ear beats, because I like the way they fit in my ear, but I like the sound and the usefulness of the AirPods a little better. And
Absolutely.
I don't like the wire around the back of my head.
Absolutely. I'm getting used to them with my wireless ones that I'm using. Just to track back a little bit, because we did determine, hey, this is only a Pixel 2 that you can use these headphones. The clips looks like they apply for they'll work on the 7 and 8 iPhone, and I think the S7 and S8 Galaxy phones as well. So you will need a newer phone, but if you're one of the the newest models of the 3 most popular phones, okay, Pixel's probably not all that popular, but still, you're in the right range for it, which makes
And
sense.
they said They said with that they're going to roll out more over time. I don't know if they made that comment
Yeah.
about the Pixel Buds.
Yeah, and I kind of doubt it because of the way it feels like a very hardwired thing to bring that translate in. So
Yeah.
there's new Chromebooks, there's the phone, there's what else came out of Google here?
The thing that caught me out, just real quick to touch on the Chromebook, the thing that caught me off guard about that is it's $1,000 Chromebook. And when I think of a Chromebook, it's a little lower price.
Wasn't the original Pixel like $1,400?
Yep, that was.
Yeah.
And this is packing an Intel Core i5, 8 gig of RAM, and 128 gig SSD. So this isn't your grandma's Chromebook. This is built for speed and probably longevity. 2 USB-C ports, a headphone jack, 4 microphones, 12 speakers, 720p camera, and there are upgradable models with. It's pretty much the spec difference is the size of the SSD.
Mm-hmm.
But and then there's a $99 pen you can get for it too. The device looks extremely nice. I'm interested to see as we see schools using these devices more and more and more, and some of the look and feel to the way they kind of portrayed Chrome on the device. It definitely kind of reminds me of Android. So I wonder if this will be the convergence of the Android kind of tablet.
It looks great. I don't imagine school's getting a lot of pixels unless you're a really fancy pants college, I guess.
But will this push, and much like the Surface, will this push other manufacturers to include the higher end concepts at lower end prices. So if they could take there's not many Chromebooks that come with a pen. Samsung does have one. I'm not super familiar with other ones, but I like the hinge design on this. I view this as the spec for other people to build off, much like the Surface. And then they can, throw in a Core i3 or throw in an ARM processor, and you could drastically reduce the price of the device just by swapping out the processor.
You know what? I think I figured it out. You know what I want a Chromebook for? When I go to those meetings that I don't need to bring my MacBook Pro. Like that's I think I finally figured out the use case for something like that, right?
Or so that you can have your wife use it because you keep trying to get her to buy one.
I've been trying to, but somebody needs her Microsoft and her Adobe.
Well, you can use the web apps now. Are the web apps good enough?
I don't think they're good enough for like Adobe.
the
What
way
we're
that
doing
I
with
do it.
Adobe here in house, because she's going pretty hardcore with that. And then
I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying she needed like the Word, Excel, PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, that stuff. That
There's
stuff
that
also.
too,
but
but
the biggest thing is I need the
Adobe's
the
the
Adobe
hang-up.
suite.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know they were like Photoshop was in beta last I knew to be on there, but I don't know if it's really come along yet. And,
Well,
and there's no
but now-
Illustrator or anything like that.
But now you'll be able to get the Android apps on there too, so that you may start
It'll
to
help. Maybe. Probably not enough. No.
Nah, I'm still.
It'll help with Office. It will help with Office though.
I am not
I just
comfortable
view it
enough
as like
to make
the-
that jump.
when you get into I have a mouse and keyboard in Android, it
Mm-hmm.
definitely kind of changes some of your abilities with your Photoshop style
I
stuff.
feel like we need to grab a cheap one just to see how far we could push it. Just to see how much you could get done with something like that, and see if that makes sense as an option.
I'm figuring that I could probably do a lot of the stuff that I do. I like things the way that I have them.
Again, it's the thing that goes to the meeting with you or on the plane with you when you don't need all the horsepower.
Yeah, but
Well,
usually-
and the battery life's there. That's what gets me. Is
Yeah.
the battery life's there. It reminds me of a Mac, right? It's the hardware is tuned for the software, and the software is tuned for the hardware. It's just a very, very nice, snappy interface. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see as it grows, but it's good to see them kind of upgrading things. It's good to see the Pixel as a concept is still alive. So I have one last thing I wanted to talk about. There's a lot in here, of course, but Nintendo, for all that they've been over the years, and kind of the ones that have been iffy about things like ROMs and rights to stream certain things on YouTube from their games. Apparently, it's relatively easy, according to Engadget over here, to hack the new Super Nintendo Mini. It was also very, very easily to do the same for the NES Classic as well. So have that in mind. Apparently, it's a lot easier to get this one than I think the NES was. I know several people. You saw the pictures when they came out. Everybody's like, "I got one," all over social media that morning. But interestingly, when they got into it, let's see. There's 21 games pre-installed, down from the 30 on the Mini, of course. But when you when you get in and hack in this thing, there's a interesting little message that comes up in the prompts. It says, "Enjoy the Mini, disconnect from the present, and go back to the 90s." In the system. So there you go. Nice little hidden Easter egg for anybody that's hacking away at theirs. Again, in the article reminds us that technically ROMs are illegal. Technically. And also, we know, I'll be that guy. I got a Raspberry Pi that has even more games sitting over here, kind of thing. So there's that too. But still, I mean, nothing beats, having a classic, NES, Super Nintendo, to play that on, instead of somebody's hacked, kind of looks like an NES case for your Raspberry Pi. Or you can just put a Raspberry Pi in a hollowed out NES. That works too.
And an old NES cart.
Yeah, and an old what?
And an old NES cart, the cartridge.
Yeah, Yeah, there you go. There you go. You could
Don't,
definitely.
you don't even need the full size of the old NES. You could just use the cartridge.
That is true. You don't even have, you don't even have to, right? You just do that and just pull the wires through, like extend some USBs to where the controller ports are or something like that. Or I've seen people rewire the ports to be compatible with USB to go into, like, at the time it was like a mini PC they were doing this with, like 10 years ago when we didn't have Raspberry Pis. So like it's like you can, if you really want that authenticity, you can definitely go for it. By the way, if you go on Amazon, because I was looking, because I was curious about getting some USB versions of old controllers for my Raspberry Pi, they are plentiful on Amazon and not expensive, like $10-$20, and a lot of times in pairs. So throw that idea out there for you guys, so maybe we can get the authentic experience where we're playing Dr. Mario in here. So just wanted to throw that out to everybody as well. Hey, Brandon's been enjoying an RCA Voyager 3 lately. He got an Android tablet, a new Android tablet. Looks like it's Android 6, and that's awesome. That's awesome. So enjoy your new tech, dude. Anything else, Shirley, you want to touch on before we get out of here?
I think the Google stuff.
That's the biggest thing.
Sealed the deal for me.
Yes. By the way, I guess.
Oh wait, real quick. So Twitter's, and I forgot about this one because it actually really excites me. Twitter's doing bookmarking.
Bookmarking.
So I don't know how often. So a lot of times, I either have to, if there's a post I see that I can't get to, like read immediately, like if there's a bunch of links in it or whatnot, I end up favoriting it. Mm-hmm. Not that it's actually something I favorite, but it's that I need to be able to find it later because it gets lost in the feed, or I forget who posted it or whatever. They're going to allow you to bookmark tweets, and it's going to be kind of like a private thing, right? So if someone posted, if something's scrolling by during the day and I see it and I'm like, oh, that looks like an interesting article, I don't have time to read it right now, but I want to get back to it later. I'll be able to bookmark it, and the bookmarks are private. I just viewed it like to me, it's super easy. Like for a while I was using the Pocket. Yeah, I was using Pocket for a lot of that type of stuff. And this is just now built into the app, which really, really excites me.
That's awesome. So it's another place for me to put bookmarks where I'll never go back and read them.
But I see now I use this, like I tend to delete I'm good with this kind of stuff. Like even with Pocket, I tend to delete it later, or 6 months from now, I'm like, oh, I know I read that article and I know it was in Pocket, so I can go there and search and find it. I don't know. I view it as a very, very easy way where I actually do go back and pull back out the bookmarks.
Awesome. I'll have to keep an eye out for that feature. John Chichilla, he's at Chilla on the Twitters.
Chillatech.net. John Chichilla on the Facebooks.
There you go. Missy's here. She is at Rebellious Flaw. She also joins me weekdays whenever we get the time to do it. Basics Ergonomics on the Facebook. We talk about things that we're working on.
Yes.
And the meaning of life, and being in Beachview, and eating tacos all the time.
Yeah, pretty much anything that we decide to talk about. So yeah.
There you go. And, of course, at Sorgatron on the Twitter for me. SorgatronMedia.com, a lot of great stuff going on. Please keep an eye out. We had a great coffee club here, Creative Coffee Club, on Sunday. A lot of great people and some cool podcasts coming up. Also, I want to give a shout-out because I started listening to this one. Our new friend joined us here on Sunday night for the wrestling pay-per-view. But he has a podcast called Thrifty, where he goes and spends as little as possible at thrift stores, and it does a podcast about the stash that they get. He's done a few episodes here. It's a relatively new podcast, so give that a listen. It's a lot of fun. The bit I've been listening to it so far, which really wasn't even about thrift storing. The part I listened, he was just explaining the plot of the first episode of The Twilight Zone. So, but it got my attention, partly because I kind of randomly watched an episode of Twilight Zone before I went to bed last night. I'm re-exploring my antenna channels lately, and I love, if you don't watch your antenna channels for a while and then you like flip through, it's like it's all brand new again, because usually half of them have changed.
Well, and do you do rescans in between?
No, but I probably should.
Yeah. Make sure you rescan.
Hot tip: if you're an antenna user, rescan regularly. One, to get rid of those channels that don't work anymore, because I can't get Ion at home for some reason, but I get it up here at the office. And you never know what new channels, or just duplicates of all the channels you already have.
You do realize that you have another person who lives in the house with you who does periodically rescan.
You do?
I do sometimes.
You do?
I haven't since before I went to California, but yeah.
I wonder what the antenna's like in California. I bet you get a lot around San Francisco.
Probably
a lot of foreign languages.
Probably a lot in
Yes.
Spanish.
Yes,
And
yes.
probably a lot in Asian, actually. So that could be interesting. Anyways, hi. AwesomeCast, thank you so much. Check out everything at awesomecast.com. Please subscribe, rate, review. Share the show if you love it. And if you love it so much, you want to contribute, go to patreon.com/awesomecast. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you to our awesome chat room. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. Sometimes the clicker doesn't work.
I really
The
appreciate
clicker.
The button that like stops the record and stops the stream and everything. We're still on the stream. Thank you everybody joining us. Sorry the chat room's been wonky. I think that's the problem with Facebook this week apparently. As you do. So what is this? Oh, that goes here. Sorry, I'm divvying up files so I can get to these. But thank you very much, everybody that was a part of the show. And please, like I said, share this. Tag people. Well, I should have said this at the beginning of the show. If there's something that we're talking about that you have a friend that is interested, tag them in it. We've been doing that a lot during the wrestling broadcasts when we're doing old shows, and like we'll find people in the audience and tag them during the rebroadcasts. And that's been really cool to bring people into the conversation that way. But anything to help expand the show, we appreciate it with everybody. And stay tuned. I meant to plug at the end of the show, but I have an interview with Daniel J. Lewis of Audacity to Podcast. That'll be coming up this Thursday, and you can see the raw feed over on the video section of the Facebook. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you at 10 p.m. for Wrestling Mayhem Show.